If you mess it up, you ain't flying home. And I killed it. They don't know what I'm saying. It's the vibe, it's the energy that they go with out there. You know what I mean? So they're just more acceptable to it. Like, this is dope. It makes me feel good, so I'm gonna support it. Over here, it's like, don't nobody know who that nigga is. I ain't supporting that. Don't nobody know. My boy is better than him, so I'm not supporting that, even though it's dope. Like, and I have conversations with people. There's people who I like their stuff and repost it, and niggas is like, why you post his junk? Yeah, because I like it.
Yeah, like,
I like that he's pushing music instead of crack. I like that he's cutting records instead of, running a gang and having young boys be mules for. I like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I may not love the record. I can't put nothing garbage out. I can't take my brand, but it might not be as good of a record as something I put out, but I like what he's doing. You understand what I'm saying? But too many people won't give that where we from. Too many people like, if it ain't got 100 likes, I don't want to be 101. Makes no sense.
It doesn't.
There's no remedy. There's no cure. I've thought about it for years. It just is what it is. That's part of the reason I moved to North Jersey, other than my family situation. But part of the reason was I couldn't get the love in Philly. I had this record, Head Jerk, when I was signed to Leon Huff Jr., when I signed to Pop Tracks. And we had our major heat situation. It was literally on repeat in mad clubs. I couldn't get on the radio. My first record ever hearing myself on the radio was Power 105. Shout out to Jovan and Last God. They started playing my stuff on the radio in New York. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna follow the fan base. I moved to North Jersey. Best thing that ever happened to my career, honest to God. It's a whole different network. It's a whole different place than South Jersey, first of all.
Yeah.
And New York shows more love to North Jersey than Philly does to South Jersey. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
I ain't throwing no shade at nobody.
Yeah.
That's just
You're
a
right
fact.
about that. The culture up there is different.
Yeah.
I mean, the music is different up there. When I went up there, for me, it was more about. I used to say it was more about the DJs and the artists up in Newark, because everything that I was hearing out there was DJ tracks. Everything, like, you had all the dance mixes. You was doing
That
Sexy
dance is
Walk,
heavy.
all
That
that
dance,
stuff.
The dance, the club, Jersey
Man,
Club, that's heavy up top,
I used to
yo.
wake up in the middle, like 7 o'clock in the morning. I used to wake up because in the city everybody's moving 7 o'clock in the morning. Just wake up, look out my window. The kids is outside, sexy walking, waiting to go to school and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, this shit is real.
Yo, when I started dealing with North Jersey young boys, that's when I actually had more respect for Soulja Boy. Because look, think about the Soulja Boy. The flack he first caught was because it's like, how gangster is he? He dancing and all the. No, I know some young boys up north that will wiggle their hips all night on the dance floor, but will take your top smooth off.
Exactly.
I know some gangster young boys that do dance like that. So it's like, wow, down here we look at it like, oh, that's gay or whatever. Don't nobody do that. No, these kids these days, some of them is still trill, but they just dance like that. I know a young boy from North right now. He like 14, 15. I always tell him stop moving your hips like that, boy. But he like that outside. He not in the closet. He not on the low or nothing. They just dance like that, and they love to dance. I didn't love to dance when I was a kid. I just like to get grinded on. Right.
Yeah, it is. It's part of the new thing.
Yeah, we was doing like the Fat Joe.
The lean back song, right?
And do all that. Yeah. Hey, rock out. Some of them is still thorough though. That's just what they like to do. So then you had to realize, like, isn't that technically then Soulja Boy would still be hip hop? Because wasn't hip hop supposed to be people expressing how they really are?
Yeah,
exactly.
So if this nigga like to dance, but he do got the deuce in his hoodie or his book bag, he should be able to do both. Because he's telling his truth, right?
True. Yeah, that's real.
I feel you.
That's where the disconnect starts.
And I mean, I think a lot of, because Soulja Boy, correct me if I'm wrong, he's a southern rapper.
Yeah.
So the down south thing, that's real, and how it affected a lot of everywhere. I mean, New York, the north side, you've got California on that side, Texas, all that. It all affected it, and I think he even kind of paved the way in a weird sense. I'm not trying to make Soulja Boy sound like this big icon, but he kind of is. Because of what he allowed.
He was one of the first. Yes, he was.
Yeah, like on some level, because before that, who really went viral?
Mm-hmm. Right. You're right.
Like, I remember when I was making beats and Fruity Loops came along, and everybody's like, yo, no, you use the Akai MPC. Like, you remember them days. And then all of a sudden somebody comes along and it's like, all right.
Oh, it does work. When Big made All I Need on Fruity Loops. Did you know that?
Who?
That Jay-Z record, All I Need.
Yeah.
He made that on Fruity Loops.
And Cardi uses Fruity Loops, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you find out, and then you're like, Oh yeah, yeah. It's
But then everybody accepts it. It's the same thing with the music. Oh, everybody knows it. He hot. I'm with it.
Right.
Oh, don't nobody know that nigga. That's the number one thing you hear in Jersey. Don't nobody know that nigga. Don't nobody know that nigga.
We know him. We just not know him out here.
Yeah.
Like literally, like we had the podcast going and we got like the NBA group and people don't pay attention around here, but
see, it's okay because like what I always tell people since I started traveling with the music, what I've always told people is you just gotta leave and bring it back home. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want to leave. See, you're taught when you're coming up in the music industry, you gotta win over your hometown first. You gotta win over your hometown first. That's so true and so false at the same time. It actually depends on where you are. If you're in Miami, yeah, go ahead. Win over your hometown. You're guaranteed to make it. If you're in LA, if you're in a little city in, Cleveland, even those places, if you take over your city, yes, they will support you enough to make it. The bigger you get in this area, the more people are going to go out their way not to support you. That's a sad but true fact. I'm willing to argue that with anybody because I've seen it with my own eyes. I've even felt it. I used to be a hater too. I would see niggas doing stuff I wasn't doing. I'm like, I'm better than that nigga. Why ain't it? I used to do it too. And you had to realize what you do, the part you play in it, in order to realize how to get around it. And the only logical explanation right now is to leave and bring it back home. I opened doors in California, not that they weren't open in Jersey, but I mean, like, let's take Funch for example. When Funch came home, yeah, shout out my brother POS, what up? When Funch came home and we took that original trip to Cali, you asked him. All I did was introduce him to everybody I knew in Cali. And he had his own people out there, like we got mutual people. We got up with Camden Primo, of course, because that's the homie. We got up with T-Dot, the whole nine. But I introduced him to JD Walker. We went to the studio me and JD go to. I tried to get him over the tent. Anybody I know while we out there, you can have him. You can hear him. Introduced, see what y'all can figure out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's how I operate. That's how Funch operate. Anything I have, he has. Anything he has, I have. If more people, that's what Atlanta did. That's how Atlanta blew up. It's like, oh man, you got 5,000 people supporting you. I got 5,000, so let's just rock together. Now we got 10,000. Mm-hmm. This is common sense. Yeah. That don't happen out here. It's like you got 5,000, I got 5,000, and then I'm gonna turn to him and be like, I bet you I get to 6 before this nigga. That's the problem. That's the problem.
And we've gotten a lot of that. We've talked about a lot of that stuff on the show and everything. One thing I like to say, going back to a point that you were bringing up, we've had people come in and say that, Jersey, at the same time, they always showed them love, but then when they went across, they didn't necessarily show them love. So you kind of get both sides too. Yeah. So how would you tell somebody that's just starting in Jersey? Would you say make it in your own lane, in your own state, or then you would continue with that thought of going out and trying to figure it out first and then coming back?
Leave and figure it out, because once you get it shaken out there and you got the support of the people out there, that is when the rest of your hometown's gonna say, I knew he could do it. I knew he could do it. That's my guy. Unfortunately, that's just how it works. Like, there's plenty of times, I ain't gonna say no names. I've been in situations where one of my homies don't want to accept love from people because he felt like just last year they wasn't checking for him. Mm-hmm. That's the nature of this game. You can't take that personal. You don't invite them over and let them spend the night and trust them with your bank card or nothing, but you gotta accept the love. If it's fake, it's fake. But if it's not, then they switch, you might have really changed their mind. Or
and
they
then
might
isn't
just
that kind of like a come up for you too?
Right.
Because somebody's giving you fake love when you sit up there and accept them and you say, you know what, it's all good. If you want to show me love, I'm sure you love. It's all gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna work this out. And then they come wrong at you. You're not the one that's in the wrong at the end of the day. You just have to work that power move at the same time.
That's one less person you gotta worry about.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
So you ready to take another break?
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into another song.
So we're gonna play the Poppin' joint.
Poppin', yeah, that's produced by the Giants, featuring my homie Jake Biggs on the hook. And I actually got Flash on that record, but he ain't on that copy. Nobody's get that to the album. Yeah.
Hold up, shout out my big bro Flash.
Yeah. I got him on this record too, but you ain't got that copy. Nah, it ain't mixed. I just got his verse, it ain't mixed. But I got to turn the album into March.
Let's go to Chris. Chris is a red button guy. He won't press it.
I just want the exclusive.
I got it. Listen, as soon as it's mixed, I'm gonna shoot it to you. Real talk.
Yo, Flash, you better. I need that joint. You already know that.
Let's get into it.
known him since he was like 16. I actually did a cover for
The Giants.
remember that Gibson mixtape?
Poppin', we gon' get it poppin'. Niggas know we locked in, we ain't got no options. Poppin', we gon' get it poppin'. Niggas know we locked in, we ain't got no options. We ain't got no options.
And now I
We
don't
ain't got no
have
options.
You know what the
We ain't got no options. Locked in, we ain't got no options.
Snapback, sweatsuit, got the juice fresh from the cold heart sneeze. Bless you in my rap suit, striked up. They don't like us, cause they ain't like us. I might just have my shooters see you like spiked us. Lead through direct, paper on the side back. Old head told me homie patience is a project. Losing ain't an option, I'm locked in. Haters get hung like a stocking. Shorty been an option, hustle can't knock it. But God fight blocked in.
Poppin', poppin', we gon' get it poppin'. Niggas know we locked in, we ain't got no options. Poppin', we gon' get it poppin'. Niggas know we locked in, we ain't got no options. 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 Locked in, we ain't got no options.
Money Carsin, won a couple hundred large K-Doh. Anything less, Play-Doh. I'd rather Play-Doh. Don't pick my son up. I'm just trying to make my mama proud. Leave a little something for my daughter in case I'm not around. Never parting if I alter your play. Out here looking for the dubs like a Warriors fan. They all ride with you till you all in the jail. Look, I be with who I believe in, it's just part of the plan. Go to war with my boys every day, understand we
Poppin', poppin', we gon' get it poppin'. Niggas know we locked in, we ain't got no options. Poppin', we gon' get it poppin'. Niggas know we locked in, we ain't got no options. 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 Locked in, we ain't got no options.
I've been around, bounced, came back, and you still the same. Leveled up, shook the devil up, catching blessings now. Back to it, little crack music, they come back for it. Shoot the shot, crash boys, give them what they ask for. We all in, the army is armed, and the arms and arms reach, case we go to war. So we stay far from that CB4. Say he smells stronger than seaweed, boy. 6 seconds on the clock, I'm the PG boy.
Poppin', poppin', we gon' get it poppin'. Niggas know we locked in, we ain't got no options. Poppin', we gon' get it poppin'. Niggas know we locked in, we ain't got no options.
That one's good.
Shout out to Lou Vega and the Giants, man. Cut mad records with them. They got, I think, 3 or 4 placements on the album. I met him at the show in Atlanta, actually. He was performing too.
Yeah.
And, you know, you meet people out of town and you find out I'm from North Jersey. I'm in North Jersey, you in New York. And then you're like, oh, we going to link. And then you never link. You
Yeah.
never link. We linked. We linked a few times. I went up there. Me and my squad went up there. They got a super dope spot.
Yeah.
And they showed mad hospitality, bro. Like, we was in there till the sun came out. Like, we came out the whole next day, every time. And we made some real good music. The energy's right, so shout out to them.
Yeah, and you know what? Even going off of the song and everything that you've been talking about, you know, staying locked in. Seems like you always do, you
Gotcha.
know? And just talk about how that can, distractions along your way could have actually derailed you from doing that. Because a lot of people get hit with that, you know, whether it be family, you know, family is sometimes a good distraction. It can take you away because you need to be taken away or not. Whether it be people around you or whether it be a situation. You ever get caught in yourself where you're kind of just distracted from actually staying in your locked in mode and doing what you need to do?
What's funny is, before, yes, but I ain't been distracted in a solid year or two, to be honest with you. My dad been beating that type of energy and the universe and all that type of stuff and focus and mentally resetting yourself. He been kicking me in the head with that for a good 5, 6, maybe 7 years. Wasn't paying no attention to it. But the past year or two, I have been, and it's real. It works. My whole life changed. No lie. Like, I don't stress. Like, we joke about it. You can't pull me out of my zone. You know what I mean? You can't. I just had something crazy going on. I probably can't say too much about it, but it was some type of false accusation type situation that I got caught up in. And it just wasn't real. None of it was real. It was a distraction. You know what I'm saying? Because if I would have paid any attention and gave any energy to that, I wouldn't have finished the album on time. I wouldn't have finished the album on time, my manager wouldn't have been able to land that distro situation. You know what I'm saying? Because he out here busting 2-for-1s like it's nothing when he got me and Funch right on the table. So it's just like everything comes down to like your own mental focus. Like I could be in a terrible situation. I could get some terrible news right now. I could be all disgruntled and mad about it, or I could be regular about it. But wherever way I go, I'm still in that situation, right? Mm-hmm. So why waste my energy being all pissed and grumpy? I don't think good when I'm pissed and grumpy. I don't think good when I'm annoyed. Mm-hmm. Why would I waste my energy on that when I could just figure it out? You gotta figure it out anyway, whether you mad or not.
Right.
Just figure it out. Right. Nothing is that deep. You know, I've been through a lot, and I'm right here. I'm cool. Like I'm good. When I tell people I have a job, they look at me like I'm lying. When I'm out of town, and it ain't because I'm crazy. I don't do nothing extra. I wear, if you check that bit, I wear my everyday clothes in the video. I don't get dressed up to pretend play rapper. You know what I'm saying? This is what I look like. You see me in a white tee, you know? Shout out Art History. I do got the wristband on, no JP. You know what I'm saying? But it all comes down to what you want to do, how you want to perceive. Everything is just perception. You know what I'm saying? All right, I ain't got $330 for the cable this month. I'm going to be mad about it, or I'm figure it out.
Right.
Figure it out. Figure it out while you're mad anyway. Nobody likes it. Doesn't make sense. That's just the wave I'm on. Nah, I'm locked in. You know, I'm locked in for real. I kicked all that stuff he be kicking at me. I kicked to my boys. And it's different when you tell somebody something than when you show somebody something.
Right.
And the way
Where's
me and my squad,
so
right? They see it for themselves. They see it work for me. So they, you know, start trying to adapt to it and move like that.
A lot of people need to hear that. Shoot. At the same time, I mean, we go through situations like that, and hey, the only way you can attack them is by being focused. You know, you can't get all frazzled. You can't get all caught up in anxiety or whatever's causing you to feel some type of way. You just gotta stay straight the whole time.
Yeah. You know want to know what a real big test of it was? I started practicing it. My daughter's dance school. Gosh, that thing's so serious. It was like 3 times in a row where I looked up and I looked at my account and I'm chilling with, you know, Biggs and Wiz, and I'm like, yo, rent's paid, that's paid. My wife even came with that, she came with this. Oh, okay, we good. Oh man, I got 800 to play with? And then I get an email. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Now I owe the dance school 700. So now my 800 just went to 100. But it's like right then and there. The old me would be pissed that I gotta get his 700 up. But the new me is like, whew, at least they hit me while I got it.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? I'll make some more money tomorrow, but at least they hit me while I got it. At least I ain't gotta tell my daughter, hey, I don't know about dance this month. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of how you look at it. The last track on my album, on the MMC album, is called Half Full. The video been out on YouTube, but that's really how I see things. Glass half empty or half full. Mine always half full. I don't deal with the half empty approach. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, right. So tell me more about this album.
The album's called MMC, which stands for Mobile Mode Continues.
Yeah.
It's called that because the company me and Funch assigned to the management company, IE Management. The CEO of it is Marco Golden. The point man, our point man manager was Adam Diaz. I have a great relationship with Adam to the point sometimes we're on the phone and we don't even talk music. You know what I'm saying? I had a great relationship with Marco too. He wasn't the kind of CEO that just flew around the world and you had to chase him to get him. He would check in with me. Now, one of the things he would always do was he did a lot of business over in like Japan or one of those Asian continents. So, you know, the time zones all wacky. So he'd be up at 3, 4 a.m. and he would call me. Like, let me hear something, go. And I used to think that he was just doing that for fun because he was up. But I later found out after he passed away that he was really doing that so that when I came to radio stations or if I ever had to rap on the spot, I'd be good to go. But I mean, that's fast forwarding. So that was my guy.
That's actually pretty cool. That's
yeah,
a cool
yeah.
nugget right
and
there.
I didn't find that out until he passed away. Honest to God, his lady was the one that broke that to me. And I was like, all these years, I thought he was just bored. He's like, no, he was keeping you ready. And I'm like, oh. So what was crazy was it was maybe 2 years ago, or a year or so ago when they had that big storm in Orlando. I remember I was on the phone with him. I had just he was the one that was flying us back and forth to Cali, all crazy too. He was like, besides my parents, bro, there's nobody that ever walked this planet that believed in me as much as Marco Golden believed in me. That's a fact. It's not up for debate. Him and Adam, of course. But like he was just like that. He was a great person, man. Like always in high spirits the whole nine. So anyway, when he passed away, I was on the phone with him actually, and I had just came back from Cali, and he had just came back from someplace else. And I remember speaking to him around 3, and he was supposed to call me back around 3 or 4 after the storm kind of passes. We was just talking about nothing, and I'm always up. I'm up all night. Anybody that knows me will tell you that. And I remember falling asleep, and he didn't call me, which that was normal too. You know what I mean? Something else might have happened, or he fell asleep. And this lady called me at like 8 in the morning, and they had found him dead at 6. Like he just, he had a blood clot that nobody, he didn't even know about. And just in the middle of the night, in the middle of the storm, he just fell off the couch and took it down. So, my dad shot me some bail money so I could fly out there real quick, and I flew out to the funeral. And the first night I got there, Adam picked me up, and a lot of his friends had flew in from. He did business all over the world. They flew in. He was that great of a guy. So we were all at this restaurant, and Adam knows I don't touch a city. I gotta touch a studio if I touch the city. So I actually had a session the night before his funeral, and I did the freestyle. It's an original beat, but I just bodied some bars. And I didn't want to do an R.I.P. song because I think that's cheesy at times. That's just not me. You know what I mean? I'm not an emotional dude, but it hurts when it passed. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry to hear about that, but I feel you because
everybody does it. Right. So what I did was I did the 3 a.m. bars because I did a verse that I know it was one of the verses that I would have had for him at 3 a.m. and that he would have loved and went crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I originally did that and I put that out, and that kind of led me to want to do a mixtape in his honor, MMC mixtape. So I started working on the mixtape, and all my producer homies, they know I'll start 5 different projects before I finish the right one. So I kind of give them a little headache because they like, I just gave you 6 weeks, now you're doing a whole other project. You know what I'm saying? But I started doing the mixtape, and I actually finished the mixtape, but I just didn't feel it. Like the mixtape was hot, but I just didn't feel like that's what it should have been. And then some other things happened, and we just got back on the road. And then we was helping putting Funch's album together. But every now and then I was coming back and I was cutting joints, and it started to feel like an album. And that's when I'm like, yo, I'm gonna do the album, because I did an album in 2000 and I want to say maybe 6 around that time. But then I made some bad life decisions that led me to losing my deal. So the album never came out. And since then, I've never even attempted to do an album. I've never been a rapper that wanted to do an album. I wanted to do mixtapes, I wanted to do features. It was just nice. I never wanted to do an album. So when I jumped in the album mode, it was just different.
Now to that aspect of it too, was it kind of like a label thing too? Like, did you always, was it because you didn't want to necessarily have your album be on that label? Or
no, it was me waiting for the label. To be honest with you, because it's like your first album is really everything you've gone through in music and in life until you release it. I didn't want my first industry project to be my 4th album. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't. I wanted to wait and see what my actual first album, when I'm in that clear headspace and I know I'm working on the album, I wanted to hear what that. Listen, I'll be excited as my fans or supporters to hear my music, because I don't hear it while I make it. As weird as that may sound, I don't hear the song till the next day. And then I'll be like, ooh, I was talking that talk. So I write stuff and it doesn't make sense until I hear it. I don't know if I get possessed. I don't know what it is. But a lot of times it's a day or 2 later where I'm like, oh yeah, I was talking that talk. So it's like, I didn't want to, I just had to wait. And then it started to feel like an album. You know what I'm saying? And then situations started to fall into place where it made sense to go ahead and do the album. Now I have real distribution. It's going to come with real marketing and real promotion. It's not just going to be, and no knock to them, because that's what I've been surviving off of, like CD Baby and TuneCore. No knock to them, but all they really do is just make it available. They don't help you push the record. They don't offer any other type of services. Your record's just out. You know what I'm saying? And that only does but so much. You know what I mean? Because you get like 100 people that say, I'm copping it. And out of those 100 people, 30 of them actually pull it up. Right. And out of those 30 people, If you like me, out of those 30 people, 6 of them don't have a bank account. They only deal with cash. You know what I'm saying? And then you got 20, and then out of the 20, 10 of them have kids that need something, so they're going to get it next week, and next week turns into 3 weeks. So it's like you need to get to the people you don't know.
Right.
That's the step I think a lot of artists are missing. It's not so much for you definitely reward the people that's in tune with you and can follow you, but how do you reach the people that you don't know? How do you reach the people that don't know you? Because there's only 2 ways to get fans these days. You can buy them or you can steal them. I've been stealing fans all my life. Let's call it borrowing. You know what I'm saying? And that also comes with not being too bougie to do a record with this guy. You know what I mean? You might only have 900 followers on Instagram and I got 8,000. But if your music is dope, let me hold 300. They're your followers. I'm gonna go ahead and do the record anyway. You know what I'm saying? So many people get it they want to make themselves so exclusive. It's like, I ain't doing a record with him. I ain't doing it. Dog, if you think you're better than him, do the record with him. Because if he got 1,000 people that like him and you know you're better than him, at least 500 of them should come and start rocking with you.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how you build your fan base. You get a lot of people that don't want to collab with people because they don't really know them. I don't care about none of that. If you really for real and you doing what you should be doing and you take this serious, and you can tell who takes it serious and who don't, just look them up. If you take it serious, I'm ready to work. You know what I mean? Now some of y'all might have to pay, but I don't ever try to break nobody's bank. I never do that. I throw deals all the time. You can ask about it. Ain't nobody gonna jump with his loud and say, that nigga lying, yo, he hit me in the head. No, I show love. I work with what you can do. I respect that you willing to pay me, and I work with what you can do. You know what I'm saying? So,
and you gotta find that balance, you know.
Facts.
So what you say, you gotta find that
yeah,
balance.
you can't do it with everybody,
Right.
but there's certain joints where you gotta come with yourself and do the record.
Because at the end of the day, like you said, if somebody's really out there working, they putting in time and everything, and that's the main thing. You always want to find people that are always working because you want your circle to be people around you that benefit from you, and then also you benefit from them.
Right.
You know, you always want to have that in there
Not to
because we
mention-
all work.
Probably not to mention, just because you don't like it don't mean he ain't hot.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
might not be my cup of tea, but somebody loves you. You know what I'm saying? And that's another part of the reason why when I go to meetings, I play other artists stuff. Some people think I'm crazy for the love I show. But what they don't understand is, just because I'm showing everybody in this room love, that don't mean you in a position that you can hurt me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I play my stuff, and then I'll play his stuff, and I'll play his stuff. Because even if I think I'm the nicest, I might not be what you're looking for today. Today, you might have woke up and you want to sign somebody like Funch instead of me. Today, you might want to be looking for a J Biggs and not a Money Carsin. You might be looking for a Don Michael Jr. I played records with Donnie. Not that he needs my help, you know. That boy is off to the races, but I played his joints with people. I don't care. Because what people also don't understand is it's a copycat industry. So let's say none of us are friends. Me and Funch ain't friends. We don't even know each other. Once one of us get on, what's the first thing they're gonna come down here and do? Look for the next thing. And there's certain people down here that if you come down here, you know you're gonna get your ticket. You know what I'm saying? You know there's certain names that's gonna come up in every conversation. So you should be happy for that dude that just, I didn't understand why Amir caught so much hate at first. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand why Amir Fontaine caught so much hate at first. I'll never understand the hate that Apollo caught when he started really bubbling and he brought Jada to the hood and the whole nine, and he was everywhere. Granted, he got good support, you know, but they caught some weird hate. It's like, how can you be mad at this man for putting some light on the area? How? Why? I'm excited.
You know, there's what song? It's actually from Del P's record, and I think it's off of excuse me, Del P, because we had him on a couple of weeks ago, and I want to make sure I get it right. But I think it's off of the Wordsmith joint, and it's at the end where he has that line from Tupac, and Tupac basically said, he's like, you know, if I keep talking about how dirty the street is, somebody gonna hear it. Somebody gonna hear it. I'm just trying to bring light on it. That's it. You could be mad at me or not, but at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is bring light on the situation.
That's it. I never understand it, but you know, like I said, that's the area we in, and it ain't just Jersey. It's the East Coast in general. I think we just more aggressive. I don't know, man. It's just different. Maybe in the water. I don't know.
Something they doing to us, seriously.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. You know, it took me a while to be like, nah, showing love is just way easier. You know, it just makes more sense. You gotta figure it out. People figure it out at different times. Just hope people figure it out before it's too late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Real talk.
Facts.
Real talk.
Salute.
But
Let's get into another joint real quick.
wanna play that money bag joint?
Sure, that's produced by The Wicked. Shout out Stacks who ain't here. You
Alright.
know, yeah, let's get it.
Yeah, alright, so we're gonna play that joint. Then we're gonna get into that Slum Village.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
It's money.